Wow, in Lebanon. Mr.
Bachaks,
Fuad.
welcome back, my friend.
It's going to be a short podcast because the sun is going to leave in like 20 minutes.
We decided just spontaneously we're shooting a podcast by the beach.
We just want to talk because there's been so much going on since the last time we saw each other, and it's good to talk. This guy is a free spirit. He's a psychologist. He's my psychologist.
You just finished a European tour. How was it?
It was incredible, man. It was like the biggest dream I ever had, to jump on a tour bus and tour with my favorite artists, favorite band, Sons of the East, and we had the best time. We traveled 26 cities in 1 month, played 26 shows, and man, it was just like, like those dreams you have when you're a kid and you're like, am I ever gonna get there? That was it. And it was like a month of dreaming, and then when it was over, I was devastated. I cried. Man, it was so emotional.
Tell me more about performing in front of thousands of people and the feeling you get from it.
Man, it's just such an adrenaline rush, and it's the biggest, deepest things I've ever experienced in my life. I swear, it's been. I've done a lot snowboarding. You experience a lot of things snowboarding, but it's more like, it's so intense snowboarding because you throw yourself in the air. You have so much happening so quickly, and you don't have time to really realize what's happening. When you're on stage, you have such a deep connection with the audience and the people. It leaves you with I don't know why you're doing it. Your heart is like exploding of emotion, of joy, of adrenaline, of satisfaction, of connection with so many human beings, and so powerful, man. When it ended, the last show, I was like, after every show, I got to this song, like, okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is my last song. Thank you so much for having me. And the first show was so exciting because, like, damn, there's like 26 shows left to go. And this last show, I was like, that's the last one. And that's when I cried. Like, the guys joined me on stage. I cried. I was like, man, so much happened. At this moment, I realized how much has happened during this month. It's a spiritual growth. It's a mental growth. It's like it's a big achievement of life.
How is the touring life? I've seen you were with Sons of the East, which is you're one of your favorite bands. Every time I went with you in the car, you put their songs. How was it?
Man, it was incredible. There's such beautiful people, beautiful souls. They were the kindest people to me. We had, it's funny because they're those people that you see as a kid and you're a fan. You're like, wow,
Yeah.
these guys, I want to meet them one day. You want to meet them and you're thinking, what are they like? And then you end up not only meeting them, but you spend 1 month sleeping in the same exact room. Like the bunk beds were like sleeping like this for 1
In the
month.
tour bus.
Yeah, and after every show, I would sit down on the bus, and the bus left the city, and I would look at these guys like playing cards, playing video games, and I was like, damn, I'm with them in the tour bus. It's so unreal, man. The feeling, every single night I had that feeling. Once Max came on tour, my brother, he joined for a couple of shows. After my birthday, I remember leaving Paris, and I was like, Max, we're leaving Paris with my favorite band. It's my 30th birthday. And it's like every planet is aligned, but it's been so long. We've worked for 10 years to get to this moment. And now we're here in this tour bus sitting and living this dream.
You've kind of attracted this to some extent. How do you think that played out? It was once an idea to tour with such huge bands, and now it's actually happening.
Man, it's been like I said, it's unreal. It's like out of this world. It's what you hope for, and it made me realize, I think the biggest thing I've learned is that, you have all those dreams, and the biggest thing about meeting your idols is that it makes you believe that it's possible to get there, because you see them with the same struggles as you, with the same problems, with the same everything. They're humans, and it makes you believe that you're gonna make it too. You're like, oh, they're also like scared to not sell out this venue. They're also scared to not make a great show. They also had a shitty show sometimes, and it's just human. And you're like, actually, I'm there too. I'm there. I'm just in a different scale, but I'm already doing it. And that's how I define success now. It's just by doing it. and now I'm not worried that I won't make it because I'm already making it, you know.
That's so amazing. First of all, I'm genuinely so happy for you. Person of the crew of Sons of the East teach you.
Man, every single person is different, and I think that's what I'm so amazed about this life I'm living now. I meet so many people, and I realize that every single person is different, you know, and everyone has his little genius. Everyone has his problems, you know, and it's just it's hard to tell because we only spent 1 month together, you know. It's like you teach me a lot, you know. I can say a million things about how you teach me, you help me grow, because it's like it's a month, like we've known each other for more than a year now. With them, I'd say like believing, you know, knowing that I have the skills to become a great musician, and it was just inspiring to spend time with them, I guess. And it just, like I said, it just gives me that vision that I am successful already because I'm doing what I love and I'm doing this touring. I'm living this dream, and it doesn't matter how many tickets you sell. Like for now, you know, I'd rather like you. It's like every steps. It's like every steps of the way you're gonna make it. You're gonna have to make it, you know, and all those steps are so exciting. Now I'm going for my first tour, headline tour. I'm like, it's like only 100 tickets, 200 per shows. Sometimes it's more, but it's a very few amount of tickets, but it's so exciting to go into this experience, you know, and trying to sell those few tickets and see this career grow, because man, I don't know how it's going to go from here. I mean, it's very exciting to see. We started before I did the Suns tour. I sold 0 tickets to my shows. We put posters out. It was like 1 ticket, maybe in Munich, every now and then. And now we're almost sold out in Zurich, in Munich, in Amsterdam. So it's the tickets are selling. I'm like, what? Who is buying tickets to my shows? You know, it's so weird.
That's crazy that you went from Switzerland to now Europe and going all around.
It's a wild thing, man.
What's the difference in the fans and the vibe between?
It's a little bit different. I think like the problem in Switzerland is people know me for my snowboarding, and it's hard to break that idea that I have that I'm a snowboarder, and they watch me on stage like, oh, this is Pat Berg, and amazing to see him, and they look at me as a snowboarder. And I want to be seen as a musician, you know. And when I go to these cities where people have no freaking clue who I am, you know, Prague, even Munich, like all the cities I played, Amsterdam, people are like, is he actually a snowboarder? And it's such a big difference because they listen to my music and they like genuinely connect to my music before having any ideology of who I am. And that's a difference when a musician shows up on stage. Even if they don't know him, they know he's a musician and famous, so they're like expecting to hear music. It's different, man. It's something I never thought I'd experience, because I heard people win the Olympics and say, you know, I wish I didn't make. I heard that before. They're like, I wish I didn't make that medal, because since that medal, every single person presents me as the Olympic gold medalist. And it's so weird to think that one day you'd be like, I'd not regret it. You never regret a medal or being part of the Olympics. So I would never regret my snowboarding career, but it's hard to move away from this. So sometimes you hope you don't make it as far as a medalist, because then you're like this Olympic medalist. You know what I mean? Now I'm still a snowboarder, and I can make it to a bigger level in snowboarding. In music, I genuinely think I can.
It's like you get put in that box.
Yeah.
And you're told that you're that one thing alone.
Yeah.
And especially for us as people who have kind of...
Man, we're ADHD, we got to do everything, you know? And that's a very interesting
we
topic.
lose interest very fast.
Yeah, we lose interest, and I don't think we lose, like, we just have passion for too many things, you know? It's like you did those crazy Instagram, you blew up fucking, how many followers? 2 million on TikTok within a year, and now you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, I want to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And I think you listen to your heart, and that's the most beautiful thing about your being, man. And it's so inspiring. And millions of people think, you're crazy, man. You have million followers. You could make a living out of just social media, 100%. You could be making 100,000 a month. Just if you kept doing your social media, but you're like, fuck this, I want to do a podcast.
Man,
I respect that so much, bro. It's insane. It's so insane to have that ability to refuse income to just follow your heart.
You did the same.
I did the
Also,
same in
when-
school.
when you-
Man, that's exactly what guided my life. When I left school, people were like, "You're crazy." I was 16. People were like, "Oh, you crazy to
Yeah.
leave school to snowboard?" And I was scared the hell, man. I was like, and I felt stupid. I felt like I felt like I was dumb, man. I was like, I'm not made for school. And everyone made jokes of me, like, "Ah, he's stupid. He cannot study."
Yeah.
All these people made jokes of me. All my snowboarding colleagues, they're like, "Yeah, but Patty's dumb. Ah, he cannot count." Blah blah blah, and all this shit. And he hurt me so deeply. And I was laughing. I was like, yeah, but deep inside, he really hurt me. And until I was 25, 26, I didn't assume, like, I still felt bad about it.
Yeah.
I was like, one day I will end up in the streets, like everyone said. I will finish my snowboarding career, and I will not have a plan B. And I was so scared until music finally hit so to next level. And now my career, I just turned 30, and that's a time where all my colleagues, we barely have sponsoring anymore in snowboarding. It doesn't exist. People don't give a shit. Like, sponsors don't give shit about comps anymore. It's a sad truth. They care about projects. They care about creativity. They care about how can you make our brand value.
Yeah.
And all this time I didn't study since I was 16. All these 10, 15 years I've spent was on building an image, on learning how to make something out of what I have, you know? I didn't have a plan B. I don't believe in plan Bs anyways. And if I did study, I would never be a musician today. I would not be a musician. I can assure you, I would have, when I got injured when I was 18, I would have kept studying, because that's what you have, because you've done like 6 years already. You're like, man, I'd rather just, at least get uni and then I have a degree, and then you get a job because you have a degree that, the system is fucked, man. I'm going to be very honest.
Look,
It works if you like it. It works if you want to study. My older brother, very good example.
Some people are not made for it.
Exactly.
And me are not made for it. We're creatives. We have ADHD. We're rebels by nature. I think parents should be able to let them experiment with different things, like they did with you. That's the best decisions your parents took, is that they let you be free and try things.
Yeah, but it's so hard as a parent
It's
to
hard.
just,
Yeah, it
to
is.
just like, what do you want to do to a kid? And he's like, I want to be I want to draw, or I want to make music. Like, man, most people do not value these things.
Yeah.
At least in Switzerland, where I grew up, people don't value music, sports as much as being a banker. And which I understand, man. Being a musician, I'm living freaking 300 days on the road. I spend all the money I earn back recording. It's tough, but it's the best thing I've ever done in my life, and I'm so happy and grateful. And you end up making a lot of money being a musician.
Yeah.
Because, man, you get paid freaking €1,000 gig, man. It's a lot. Even that's a small, even 500 euros. Some small gigs I tour Europe, 500 euros is so much. People work 2-3 days to get this amount of money, and I'm playing a concert, So I think it's not true that you won't make a living out of being a musician, being a sports guy. And there's ways to make a living. It's just about the commitment you put into it.
I think there's so much ways, and also it's very interesting now because I think authenticity and creativity are going to be the most valuable things on earth, because AI is going to take away all the functional jobs that require, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, definitely. Man, to write an email now, I write emails like that. But I want to talk about something before the sun goes out. One thing I want to talk about is ADHD. This thing we did this video. It blew up on social media. We touched so many people with this.
Yeah.
It's actually insane.
Yeah.
I never expected to have that many people that face the same problems.
How many people reached out to you after that video?
Man, thousands.
Man, insane.
Just that one video, 45,000 followers I gained.
Yeah.
Just by posting that video.
Like, we were making the script, me and you were telling me the story, and I was like writing the script. I was like, this is the most powerful thing I've ever written in my life.
Yeah, it was so good.
And your story and the build up and how you went from this to this to this, crazy.
And man, this hyperactivity, it's something we got to talk about, because so many people do not fit in, and it's horrible. When you're a kid, when I was a kid, 10 years old, People tell you you're shit. You're never gonna do anything out of your life. It's horrible, man. I felt so shit. I almost committed suicide because of that shit, you know? And I strongly hoped I could be normal. I was like, why can't I just sit on this chair and learn? I couldn't learn. I couldn't sit. I couldn't focus. It was so hard in school.
Yeah.
And then teachers tell me, you're shit. You got to stay longer in class. And I couldn't get out, do my sports. It was a very difficult time. And my parents brought me to the doctor, and the doctors told my parents, man, he's just playing with you. He just wants attention. He's just like this spoiled kid. But deep inside, I had this aching pain in my heart. I was like, this is so painful to be a kid and have to go through this. And I'm so happy we opened up that subject, because it's something that millions of kids have, and the millions of parents have to face, having a kid who doesn't want to go to school, who doesn't want to study, who doesn't want to be the same as someone else. And then they express all this anger into bullshit. Man, I broke windows. I started burning everything I found on the way. I did a lot of bullshit, you know? And that was the only way because I was angry. I was angry at life. I was angry at everyone around me. And it's a way to express that. And the more you do this, the more people push you away, and you become this little piece of shit, you know, that no one wants to see. And until you find what your heart wants, you're going to be that person, and no one's going to believe in you. And the more people push you away from finding this true purpose of life, the less you'll find it. So it's very important when you have a kid that is disordered, whatever they call it, ADHD, you gotta encourage him to find what he wants or what she wants. You gotta ask her, what you want to do, and help these people find that purpose. Because once they find that purpose, ADHD is a superpower. My
then
goodness.
they go all in, man.
It's a superpower, man. I flew in last night, 4 a.m., woke up at 9. We went to the embassy, did the whole day. Now we're shooting a podcast. Man, it's freaking 8 p.m. I'm like, most people would be destroyed, like laying on a chair. I'm like, no, I want to do something. We got to film a podcast. I'm sure we could get something out of it, you know? And that's a mentality I have. And I've had this my whole life. And I have this superpower, which is called ADHD. And we got to use this, and we got to help people find their way. And it's all about this, man. It's about helping each other and helping those kids that don't fit in to find a purpose and find a way to belong.
There's two things that pop to mind that I really like about you and I admire. I admire the fact that creatively you are free and not attached to a certain way of doing things. You're very... Tell me how you do it. It's super interesting to me. You always try different kinds of music, different styles, You're always so open creatively. From where does it come, or how does it happen?
I think it's I love to experience, and to be creative, you have to have a brain, a heart full of experience. Because literally you're not writing anything new. You're just using the material you experience in your life.
Wow, so interesting how you put it.
I know it's what comes to my mind now, but it's true. Like you never write a song. You just make up. Your brain makes up things that he has assembled over the past years, over this lifetime, and I think it's very important to be aware and open, and to have that open heart, and not be, willing to get one specific thing. You got to be open to get whatever gets. Like now, this podcast, we're not focused on, we want to get this podcast without the sound in the background, with the sun in the back. We're just like open to whatever comes out.
Wow.
And now we might get the freaking best podcast we've ever filmed, and this video might reach millions of views, and we might get famous. I don't know. Maybe not, but we don't care famous, because we're not attached to the results either.
Yeah, so it comes from... That's what you mean. You mean it comes from being open?
Being open. It's all in there. But when you're too attached to the result, you start overthinking, you start
Doubting.
doubting, and that's why millions of songwriters never release their music because they're so scared
To be judged
to be
also.
judged. And my brother said something very right. He's a producer now, Mr. Oddbox, and he said,
Upcoming Grammy winner.
upcoming Grammy winner, and he said, man, every single artist thinks their next release is going to be their biggest hit song, and that's not true. Like, it's not going to be it, you know. Like, man, I thought this 45 songs ago. And when you release a song, it just doesn't, it goes out, it's, oh, this one did well, but you don't even notice when it does really well. And then you keep going, and like, you never know, and you're never going to choose your hit song. The only thing you're able to do is put music out there, and that's the only thing you can control. The only thing you can control is film a podcast at 8 p.m. no matter what, and put it out and see what, man, it's just for yourself, for your own will to create and love of creation, because we're creators, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, man, I have goosebumps thinking about this, but it's true. Like, since I was a child, that was my purpose. I was just a creator, no matter what. Like, I wanted to draw, I wanted to create a masterpiece with whatever paper, those paper planes. I was trying to build different paper planes, make them fly as long as possible. It's just this creative brain, and you have to use that as much as possible. And everyone has it. Every single person has that ability to create, and it's just about being open, being aware, and letting go, man. Not being attached to the result, and just do it for the pure love of creation.
That's beautiful. I was a couple of days ago in the mountains with a genius who's a neuroscientist, and what he does is that he looks at your genetics, and from that he finds out your talents, which is insane. And he said that in one session he did, everyone started crying, 45 random strangers. Why? Because in their genetic code they were very creative, but because of life and their parents and society, they always went into jobs where they're not. And so they started crying because they knew deep down they had something creative, but they didn't exploit it.
Man, it happens all the time. This is a fact of society, man. It's just a lot of people just never find what they want. But it's not true, because they can anytime change and do it. Man, I meet people. I have this artist, Tony Ocean. He's an artist he made a beautiful video on Instagram saying that the song I wrote with Kim Churchill helped him to move on and follow his dreams. And it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And Tony Ocean is now, I don't know, over 40, I think. And he's given up everything. He's living in a van with his family, 2 kids, wife, and they're traveling the world. And he's starting a musical career now. It's never too late. And it's so important to know that. And there's no limits to your passions, because you never know where you're going to end up, man. I never thought I'd be like a solo touring musician. Like, I thought I had a band. I was going to tour with a band and play festivals in Switzerland, and now I'm playing Europe. Like, how the fuck does this happen, you know? So you don't have to be, again, blocked with any expectations. You got to just let it flow and go where the journey takes you.
On your phone, you had a wallpaper that said the toboggan of life.
Toboggan of life, yeah.
How do you think that has been the case in the past few years?
Man, it's been guiding my life. Just basically, I still struggle with it. You know, sometimes I have decision-making problems. I want to be where I'm not. I face this all the time, man. I really have like decision-making problems.
Yeah.
And the more I travel, the more I learn about it, though. Like, I know which flights, like simple things of life. Like, which flight do you book to Barcelona? Do I fly through Madrid or Paris, or I fly to Istanbul, the cheaper flights? All these decision-making problems is so hard to deal with. And one thing I've learned, the first thing that helped me to deal with it is just, you have to get away from the money situation. And I know it's hard. I'm not rich. And even the more money I make, I still have those same problems. Like, oh, it's going to cost me more. But you have to stop thinking about all this money issue thing, because if you do the right decisions, money is going to come back to you, because you're going to be in good state of mind. You're going to travel to the right show. And I have 1,000 examples like this, man. This one show, a friend didn't want to play it because it was too expensive to go. I took the offer. I spent 800 euros playing that show in Barcelona. But man, I lost money on that show, but I did not care a second. I was like, this was the best, beautiful show I've ever played in my life. A room of 800 people. I got to connect with so many artists and potentially write a hit song with Yol. When I was in Barcelona, we catch up with the producer. So you have to get away from that money situation thing. You have to believe that it's going to be okay, and that you need to do the best choice for the best choice, and not for how much it's going to cost you.
Recently, you've traveled a lot, right?
Oh my goodness, I'm traveling every day. I arrived yesterday. I'm leaving tomorrow to Barcelona, traveling to Madrid, back to Switzerland, then Paris. Every single day I travel now.
I feel like traveling has a huge impact on you. How is it? What does it bring to you? What do you
Man,
learn?
I love traveling. I love traveling. It's very exhausting. You end up like at the airport yesterday, 6 hours delayed flight, and you're like, shit, man, what am I gonna do? And you get there at 4 a.m. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes it's a nightmare, man.
Yeah.
And last week I was traveling in a van, and I blew up my tympan, my ear,
Yeah.
my eardrum was, I broke it surfing. I teared it, so I was in a lot of pain, away from home in a van, like everything's never dry, So it was a tough week, but I'm still there, and I learned so much from those down moments where I go through struggles. Man, you acknowledge so much being healthy and being in a good environment, and that's why it's important to have downs as well.
And how does the positive countries affect you? Like, which are your favorite countries?
I don't know, I love traveling. I love seeing different places, and that's what I love the most. Because if I stay in one place, I get bored now. So what makes me love a country is just to travel.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's so beautiful. We just finished the sunset. What a journey, man. It's cool to do this again, man. Let's talk one more thing. Where do we see each other where do we see ourselves in a year from now?
Year from now. Where do you see yourself first?
In 2 years, in a year from now. So what is it? July 24. Okay, July 25.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to be doing the exact same thing, getting ready for the Olympics, but just so much bigger. Like everything's going to be bigger. We're going to do major ads. I want to do a tour with my own tour bus in Europe in a year and a half from now. It's a very big gap, very quick step up. And I'm not saying it's going to happen, maybe not, but that's my goal. And if it doesn't happen next year, it's going to be in 2 years, and then we'll keep going, man. How about you?
Hopefully, by God's grace, touring with the pod or streams, like live streaming the pods with the biggest spiritual leaders in the world. I really want to go in Europe and travel all Europe and speak with spiritual leaders about awakening and all the rest. I'm super and to make this my full time.
I fully believe, man, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But again, like the only way to make it happen is to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's just that simple. For me, it's just keep playing shows. For you, it'd be like travel and get to meet people in person. And man, it's just that easy in the end.
Yeah, you're right.
Just gonna go get it, man, and keep doing it.
100%.
It's so funny that my dad has been watching this the whole time.
I'm gonna show you the view.
So cool, my dad watched it. Okay, Fouad, this is a sunset from
Epic.
Lebanon. Much love, people.
Much love, guys.